Stay tuned after the podcast to listen to me and my dad.
Okay. This episode of the Nerdball Podcast is sponsored by Jake Paluski at Real JP Multimedia. He does the music for this podcast. He has produced this podcast. If you need anything audiovisual done, he is the man to see at realjp.com, REELJP.com. Let's start the show.
This is Todd Stanton, and you are listening to the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
Perfect. All right, Todd, thanks for coming on the podcast today. We met through email, I think the first time when I, put that thing right behind you, the MPTV. There was an ad for that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I'm sure we may have met a few times in between, but then again at Jake's album release. Which I interviewed him about after the fact, and it was pretty interesting to learn like everything that went into it, which people just see the performance like, okay, that was cool, but there was a lot that goes into it.
There is, putting on a thing like that, there is a lot of like little things that people just don't even think about. And actually, when you start a big production like that, it's going to be very detailed, but until you get into it, just like the Mommy Summer Fair in itself, I just do the stage, but Mommy Summer Fair in itself, there's so many little things that go on. Mike Dibbling runs that. This is going to be his last year.
Okay.
He just announced, but there's so many little things that people don't even think about. You go to a fair like that and there's the food and all that, but you have to get permits for this, that, and the other thing, where you're going to put like the toilets and all that, just stuff we don't even think about, but there's so many little details. So like even with Jake's thing, it was just so much little tiny stuff that people don't really, think about.
And they realize it subconsciously because like, man, that was a great show, and nothing, everything was perfect. And then you're like, yeah, because all those little things,
Exactly.
Otherwise people those
people
little things
tend to notice.
Yeah.
People tend to notice the things that go wrong rather than things that go right, because you assume you're going to, see something go right. But,
okay. Well, before we dive into everything, the question I asked everyone is, what is something you've been into recently? Something you've been really nerded out about? TV show, movies, a hobby, something that's even if it's something you just started or something you've been doing for years.
Anyone that knows me, like really knows me, knows that changes from week to week, and there's high intensity on some subjects. This current thing that I'm really, really into is 3D printing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm just not like 3D printing like a little widget.
Okay.
I'm 3D printing robots, droids.
Well, you're looking around. If you got, I say we can. It's gonna be on YouTube, so we can show people too. So
I can I'll send you some stuff. I'll act like as if I'm walking through it here, so you can like maybe layer it with B-roll if you want. This is my robot from Lost in Space. I built this entire thing. Half of it is 3D printed. The other half is purchased items.
Okay.
What I'm holding in my hand right here is an action figure from 1979, Boba Fett.
Got it.
And I have printed a full size version of this guy.
Full. What does full size mean? What's how big?
6 foot.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody scaled or scanned this guy.
Yeah.
And then here is a picture of.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. You see it in person, it blows your mind. I've built a couple other droids, robots from Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And currently, here's a picture of a droid R2 that I started building in 1994.
Okay.
There was no plans on the internet. The internet was barely breathing at the time. But all I did was I I scaled pictures. I found a picture and I would scale it, and then I found like something. I would scale it up to whatever the real size is. So it's actually sitting here in my office. It's it's not perfect, but I build it with no plans, and
Sure,
it's
yeah.
highly detailed. And so now coming full circle, 20 some years later, more than that, geez. I'm now going to be printing in R2. I'm actually in the process of it. Here is a picture of just the dome that has been printed, and I'm printing all the little pieces for the body, and it's going to be a remote control. And
wow,
that's a big long answer that probably most people don't give you, and that's just me getting started.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. So I always have questions for people's hobbies and nerding out things. My only connection with 3D printing is through TikTok. There's a bunch of 3D printers on there, and
oh yeah,
I noticed that a lot of them will start the videos like, "Oh, I found this one on the internet. I found it on this website." Is that where a lot of things come from now? It's like, oh yeah, here are the plans, and you just import it right into your 3D printer.
Yeah, to make it sound easy, yes, you download. There's websites out there. There's websites out there that, like Thingiverse is a big one. It's basically just this repository for all things 3D printable.
Okay.
People make stuff, they put it up there, you can download it for free. But then there's other sites that you purchase more detailed. The ones that you purchase actually are way better than the things you get for free. It only makes sense, right?
I would imagine.
But like this R2 or even this this Lost in Space robot, there are guys out there, super nerds, and I love them, and they have detailed this thing to the nth degree. I mean, I told this guy who made the R2, and he's been doing it for years. He's actually, his name is Michael Baddeley, and anyone that knows that name knows that this guy is just an amazing guy. He's done all this for free.
Yeah.
I mean, this R2 that I'm building right now, to me is like, not to be corny, but it's like a dream come true that I'm literally, this is something as a kid, as 10 years old, I wanted. I made my one that is embarrassing it to me, but most people look and go, that's amazing. But there's so many things wrong with it. But now that I'm 3D printing one it's going to be remote control. That's a super geeky answer, right? Yeah. I mean,
that's perfect, because I like, and actually I'm glad you said all that stuff, because normally I do end that question with what's a nerdy thing, but it can't be your job, right? And this is the perfect answer, because it's not your job. It's just something you do for fun, and you've been doing for years. Obviously you built just a couple years, actually. Just a couple years. I'm just saying, like, just saying, like, the building aspect. I mean, you built the first R2D2 2 years ago, right? So like, it's something you're really into, and it morphed with the technology, right? So now it's 3D printing. And
it's amazing. I mean, I'm not a craftsman by any means. My brother is a skilled furniture maker. Like, he's a craftsman. I'm the opposite one. I'm an amazing hack is what I am. But I love it. I mean, I like being creative. I mean, everything that I do in life, from my job to my hobbies, they're all super creative. They're just not. That sounds like very egotistical answer, but I'm using the word creative compared to people who are not creative. They couldn't draw a picture if you wanted. They couldn't create something out of clay if they wanted. They couldn't paint a picture. That's not putting them down, because there are those people out there that don't have the ability to, like, come up with something. I believe everybody can be creative. You just have to push yourself. But everything I do has to be something cool. Yeah.
Well, no, that's great. And I would imagine with 3D printers, you can it's just like with anything. You can spend a little bit of money, and you can spend a lot of money, because the ones I always see, it's, hey, here's the filament we're using. It's one color, and it's going to print in one color. Are there 3D printers where you can program it to have a bunch of filaments around, and then it's just pulling them from different colors and stuff?
I follow a lot of guys, like you said, like some on TikTok, and then some. I'm in a couple of Facebook groups. I haven't seen too many. They're probably out there, more expensive ones, like you said, where you have multiple filaments and it can change. I've seen ones that have you at least have 2 filament colors.
Okay. All right.
But most of the time, these guys will just switch it out. Like there's a little thing I did for somebody. It's just a
oh, nice
nameplate.
Yeah.
And what I did with one of them was I printed the background gray, and then halfway through the print, I changed it to like black. And so the letters stand out, not on this one, the letters, stood out black against this gray. But that was me stopping it, manually and then switching it out. So,
okay. All right. Yeah. Cause I've seen that too. Or I would imagine like, hey, this piece is going to be this color and this piece is this color. And then when you put it together, it all, makes sense.
I wind up painting everything that I do.
Okay.
Anyways. So, like with this R2, I am printing kind of like some of his blue panels. I am printing them in blue.
Okay.
But they're going to be painted. They're going to be painted the right color and that kind of stuff. So, but I kind of just as a part of the fun, to build it and see the different color contrast. Others, like my Boba Fett, he's completely gray. Right now he's going to be painted. I don't have a paint booth, so I paint in my garage when the weather warms up, and it's going to be soon. So. Super nerdy answer, brother.
No. Did you, when you were younger, did you do like car models and plane models and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, when I was, so this is kind of an argument my wife and I have all the time.
you looked for her like you didn't want to talk about.
Well, I was actually looking for my son because it's about my son. I have a 15-year-old. I have 3 children. I have a 27-year-old, a 25-year-old from a previous, and then Kim and I have been married for 17 years, and we have he's going to be 13.
Okay.
And he's not a creative dude. He's what every kid is these days. All they do is play video games, and they don't do anything creative. And I think creativeness comes from when you don't have things given to you. You don't have a lot of things at your disposal, so you have to make up stuff. I was making movies at 10 years old because I loved Star Wars when it came out, and I had a camera, and that's all I had. I didn't have anything else, and so I'd make things out of cardboard, ships and all that kind of stuff. And now today, God, you can print a ship if you wanted, but I mean, there's so many. My son has so many things given to him that I think that stifles creativity. I think the lack of stuff.
Well, that's what my daughter, she just did it yesterday, but a lot of times she'll say, "Dad, I'm bored," or "Can you help me with my boredness?" And then I'm like, well, and I always give her an option first. I go, well, why don't you figure something out? And she always goes to, it's a few things. Can I play with Play-Doh? Can I draw? Can I paint? Yesterday, she painted a picture of her cousin, my little nephew. So that's what she, like, when she's bored, she goes to that stuff. So that I agree with the fact that, like, she has an iPad, she has this, she has other things, the TV and that kind of stuff. But when she's bored and she lets us know, then she needs help getting some of that stuff. So, but that's what she's drawn to.
And and I think that's what makes great musicians too. You think of any of the great musician stories, they always say, I spent hours and hours in my room playing guitar or whatever it is. Yeah. My wife and I are musicians. And so we thought, it's going to be a given. Jack is going to be playing guitar or piano or whatever. And he has no interest in it. It drives me insane. But it is what it is, because he's been given every video game on the planet. So,
but does it now? Because I have that same thing. Not now. I've always said this though, but I've had that same thing with sports. I'm really into sports, and I always said if my kids don't like sports, that's okay. It would drive me insane too. But I would imagine that's kind of an internal battle with you. It's not like you're like, hey, you have to try this at least a little bit.
We've tried. I mean,
and that's all we ask, right?
Yeah, he's played in like the school. He's played like trombone of all things. So I mean, he's attempted things. I guess he didn't want to necessarily fall in the same path that his mother and I did, but he's attempted it. But he's got a natural rhythm too. So there, I thought, this is growing up. He's like 2 years old and he's bopping to music on the beat, and I thought, this is going to be cool. we used to have a family band. I should send you this video. You'd be blown away. And this before Jack came around, and well, Jack was very little, but we used to have a family band that used to play monthly on the internet. This is before Facebook Live and all this stuff. There was a site called Stage It, and musicians would get on there, and then people could tip them and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
But we would do that once a month, and we had a pretty good turnout because everyone liked the whole family aspect of it.
Yeah.
And Jack would be very into it, and I just thought, wow, this, we need a drummer, because we didn't have a drummer in the family. I thought, he's got a natural rhythm. That's going to happen. He's going to be a drummer. Can't wait. My son and I would, pressure him. Oh, you got to learn drums. No,
nothing. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the very least, he tried, and so at least you have that in the back of your mind. Like, well, he tried it. And that's for that. That's all we can do. Maybe when he gets older, he'll want to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, but I know with my brother, he played guitar for the longest time, but there was a period where he kind of walked away from it, and he got back into it. And I think it's good for kids to learn a musical instrument of some sort, so that they know, like you said, in the wake. They did try it at some point, and maybe I could resurrect, that instrument again or whatever. So I do think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when I did it for that year or whatever, it was like, I played the saxophone when I was in 5th or 6th grade. And that's the only time I've ever played an instrument, but I remember that I had fun and it sounded cool. And I think as an adult, like, man, I wish I could play saxophone still,
And you could.
Sure. Now it's just time.
I don't want to say it's like riding a bike, because that is so cliche. My son can't ride a bike, so that's one of the things we tease him about. I don't know if he's in earshot either. But I think with an instrument, it's the same kind of deal. You can kind of pick up where you last left off to some degree. I mean, it depends on how many years go by, but it's like, oh, I remember. You kind of have what they refer to as muscle memory, and it'll come back to you. So,
well, if anybody wants to hear When the Saints Go Marching In Horribly, then
let's do it.
Okay. Well, so you said you're a musician, and I've seen you play not only with Jake at Jake's thing, but other places too. And we were texting when I asked you to do this probably last month, and you said you're working on your 5th album right now.
Yeah.
So you've been doing. It sounds like you've been doing music since you could walk, or for a long time anyway.
When I was 15, a friend of mine turned me on to. I've been playing piano by ear probably since I was 10, 11. Okay. And then when I was about 15, I had a friend of mine that asked me to play on an original song that he wrote. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And he gave me kind of like the structure of it, and said, play these chords. And so I was taking piano and guitar lessons at the time, and I asked my instructor, like, I don't know what to do, and he gave me a couple ideas, and I'm like, oh, cool. To this day, I can still play it. Like, it's like, again, muscle memory. I don't even, it's just I can play this thing. But from there, that got the bug, and him and I did 5 albums together. Then, as a kind of almost simultaneous, I started doing a solo project. That was my first one. I think was back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And I've done 4 albums solo. I've done 2 other albums with a group called Identical Sons. It's myself, my son, my older son, and a friend from California, Los Angeles, and we kind of co-wrote the song co-wrote music over the internet. And so there's been quite a few. So this current one is some songs that were kind of slated for possible future Identical Sons songs. It was just stuff that I brought to the table and never went anywhere. And I don't know if another Identical Sons album is going to happen anytime soon. So I started writing this stuff, and a few other songs that I've had laying around for a few years. I've never really put them in any kind of collection. And yeah, I've just decided last year, like I'm just going to do this by myself. I'm doing all the instruments myself, singing everything. And I talked to Jake because kind of swapping services here. I helped him film his whole album release party, and so he's helping me mix my album, and hopefully it'll be done this year. So
I love that kind of stuff when like I'm a huge like, let's barter things, let's trade. So like, I know how to do this thing that you don't know how to do, but you know how to do something that I don't know how to do. And
exactly,
it makes it like, because not everyone has money to do these things, but if you have friends and you can you can help each other, and
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. Yeah,
and to just be involved in like different projects and different things, and try to, I always try to tell people like, hey, I think there's been a few people on Facebook that said, I want to try to start a podcast. I go, hey, let me know. I got all the equipment. I can help you get started. I can show you, I can produce it. And, we'll see what happens, because I like all this stuff and I want people to like it too. And if I can get more people to do it and also enjoy it, then I think they'll be as happy as I am doing it.
I had a podcast for a while. Me and another Todd, it was called the Toddcast. We put together, it was about business. He actually went to school for business, and he was actually this became as a result that he was starting his first entrepreneurial adventure. Jeez.
Okay.
And we kind of met through a mutual friend. And so he had this idea, let's do a podcast and we'll just talk about, your view of business from your, school of hard knocks kind of thing. I didn't go to school for any of this, and versus his. And so we would basically toss the ball back and forth. And it was an interesting thing. And then he fell off the planet. I don't even know what happened to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I don't even know, honestly. So I just, we did about 14, 15 episodes, and it was fun.
Yeah. That's how this started. Me and my friend started a podcast, and he didn't fall off the planet. I still talk to him. He's been interviewed on this podcast, on my podcast, but he got busy with work and couldn't do it anymore. And I think if we would have thought of like, hey, let's try Zoom or let's try this, maybe he would have stuck around. But he was real busy. He's traveling all around the country and stuff. And
were you guys in person? Is that how you did it?
Yeah.
So that does make it tougher.
Yeah, we worked together. We both worked at UTMC as groundskeepers, and it kind of just morphed into our lunchroom conversations, morphed into this podcast. And then I much prefer being in person. Just for me, like the sound. Now this one will sound really good because of your setup, but the sound. I listen to podcasts all day, every day, and there's some that I love that if it's a phone interview that's I'm on the fence about anyway, then I'll turn it off because I don't like the sound of it. So I'm real like picky about it. But then once I just said, hey, I want to do video also, and Zoom is the easiest way to do it. I don't have to set up cameras or anything. And then my audio snobness just had to go away a little bit, just to get what I wanted accomplished.
I get you. Yep.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about podcasts. Like you can easily be turned off by the sound so quickly. Like, oh, that just sounds. And where are they? I mean, the most ambient sounding room. It's like they're way over here from the microphone, and just like sounds terrible.
What's happening? My favorite ones. I listen to audio dramas. I always try to explain to people, like, back before TV, people held around a radio, and that's what these podcasts are. And when they start, and their first sentence is, "Hey, we recommend using headphones because of the sound." I go, "Oh, this is going to be good because of the bouncing back and forth." And I mean, you know more than I do, but I love when someone's
stereo stuff,
and someone's on the right side because it's coming in your right ear only. Like, I love all that stuff. It sounds. I wish I knew more about it, but it sounds really cool.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Star Wars, coming back to that, in 1980, I think it was, they actually started doing a Star Wars radio show, and they took this 2-hour movie and they broke it into 13 half-hour episodes, and it came out one a week for the 13 weeks.
Okay.
7:30 on a Monday night, and me and my brother would, huddle around the radio at that point, and so it was very cool, and it had all the stereo effects that you're talking about, and very like huge production that kind of no one listens to that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of disappeared. So
I want to write like audio dramas and comedies. Like I just found one yesterday called Welcome to Argyle or something. It's from Bob Odenkirk, and his son wrote it, and it's a comedy about his town, Argyle, Ohio. And but I like those. I like comedy. I want to write. I have all these ideas all the time, and then I think about it. And I'm like, at some point I'll do it. I just don't have time.
It is a way to make almost a cinematic experience without props and location and, you know, period looking suits and all that kind of stuff. Like you can do all that on a low budget, you know? So, I mean, that is fun stuff.
Yeah. Eventually I think I'll do it.
There you go.
I want to do it enough that I know I'll do it at some point.
Well, I think you should do it. I think you should do it. That'd be fun.
So besides the music that you've been doing for a while, you're also involved in your own company. And I know that you helped Jake do his thing, and you're involved in a lot of other stuff. So how long have you been doing what you're doing now as your main job?
Yeah. Okay. So I made my first Super 8 film when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
I just recently, a couple of years ago, I transferred all those to video. Like they've been sitting in a box forever. I bought a machine. I thought I was going to start selling this as a service, and I had a couple people, but I didn't get that much business out of it. But I was able to use that machine and transfer all my stuff.
Yeah.
And I had at the time you had a projector and a cassette player, and so there'd be a little scratch on the film, and as soon as you see it, press play, and that would be your audio and video playing at the same time. Terrible sync situation, but you couldn't have voices. It was just mostly music and sound effects kind of thing.
Okay.
But I've been doing that since 10 years old. When I turned 18, I bought my first video camera, and that got me doing little sales videos for the company I was working for at the time. I got a couple weddings, you know, so I was able to turn a profit pretty quickly and I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to make money. It's just being creative and opportunities come. So I shot weddings. Probably within a few months, I was able to get my camera paid for. In my job out of high school was designing special equipment for the automotive industry. I took mechanical design in high school and drafting, and that led into designing special machines for automotive production. Again, it was an outlet to be creative. I was able to. We were given a part. Maybe it was a bumper to a car, a fiberglass bumper, and different things had to be done to that part to make it production ready. And so our company had to design design and build a machine to accommodate those different tasks. And so again, it was a creative outlet. It was so cool because I'm designing a one-off machine. It's never been designed before, and it won't ever be designed again or built again. And it was fun. I really enjoyed doing that at the time. And I did that for about 15 years in parallel to shooting little videos for different companies and weddings and different, personal projects of video. In 98, my first wife couldn't keep her pants on, and how about that for your listeners? I tried to keep that marriage together for about 3 years. In the following year, 99, I started Todd Productions officially as my own company.
And were you still working with your other company? Was this still
no? I mean, because of my wife's situation, she was cheating with a friend of mine. It was just a mess. I just felt like I needed to be home.
Okay.
Like I felt like I was gonna, I don't know what I thought I was gonna do, but like if I'm home, she's not gonna cheat on me.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of emotions in that. You're trying to, you're working, but then like you said that, and at the time you laugh about it, but at the time you're like, in your brain, like, well, this is gonna work.
It was a terrible time. I laugh about it now because my life is so good with my wife now. My first wife made me feel like as if I was a complete terrible person. Mm-hmm. And, I'm with Kim, more years than I've been with my first wife. We were married for 13 years. We had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a terrible, terrible time. But I laugh now because that's so far gone.
Yeah.
It was an emotional thing. So I wound up quitting my job, and it was a hard time. I was only there emotionally 50% of the time anyways. I'm dealing with phone calls and just terrible stuff. So anyways, that I started Todd Productions as the official, my official job in January of 99. And I've been doing this for 23 years now, and it's just the greatest thing I've ever done. I mean, it's my older son works for me.
Okay.
He's almost a partner of sorts because he handles all our web design, jobs. I do all the video. Then I have an assistant, and he has an assistant also. So it's a 4-man operation. And then we have a handful of vendors that, work with us, partners, that most of our clients don't even know that they're not on payroll officially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a great business. I wish I would have done it earlier.
Did you, when you started it, did you envision it being what it is now?
When I started it, all I wanted to do was pay my bills, honestly, and not have to work for someone else. Yeah. I mean, so to think now that this business feeds 3 other people is mind-numbing to me. I know other people that have much bigger companies, but I have very little overhead. We all of us work out of our homes. Mm-hmm. Thank God for Zoom, because now it's just made, my assistant used to come in every day, and then when COVID hit and he started working at home, it's like, yeah, there's no reason for you to come in anymore. I mean, just work at home. So, and I'm not like a micromanager where I have to watch everything that he's doing all the time. It's like, just get this done at this time, for this amount of money, and we'll be good. And as long as it's good quality too.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it's worked out really well, and I'm just excited about what the future holds. I mean, hopefully it continues. I don't have necessarily a whole lot of regular contracts, so every job is what's coming next month. We do have some corporate accounts that do keep us steady, but our business isn't based on that. It's just we have a good reputation, and we just keep getting repeat business or new clients. So
is it not having like contracts with anybody, can you get nerve-wracking? Like, what do we have lined up next month? Well, we only have a couple things.
I've said from the beginning, the biggest motivator, I'm not a sales guy, mm-hmm. I'm not even a people person. So to have to go and drum up business, nothing motivates you more than not having money.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like I can go against my, introvertedness or my, whatever, because, well, we need money. So it hasn't been like that in a while, though, because we do have a good flow with our clients. But there's no official contract with any of them. They could pull, and I've had some clients decide that they don't like me anymore, and they've left, and like, oh, okay. So it gets you on your toes again, and then you start knocking on virtual doors. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, I haven't been nervous in a long time. So
is it hard? Fortunate. Yeah. Is it hard when being a creative person? And I know this happens to some people. Like when I have some tattoos, and when I go to the same guy, when I go to him, I just tell him what I want, like I might show him pictures, but then he'll look for pictures on his own. I'll show this is what I want, and he'll say, okay. I show up day of, not ever seeing it. He puts it on my arm, and he says, "Does it look good?" I go, "Yep," and then he just does it without any. It's his art, just on my body, without any input from me. I would imagine with you being creative and knowing what you're doing, and some people that ask you to do things for you don't know about it, but they also have a lot of input. Is there a balance that you have to strike, or is there sometimes saying, "Hey, I can't. You're too much. You're too involved. This isn't going to work." I'm sure there's cases where that stuff like that happens.
In the beginning, I think most guys in this business, if it's graphic art of some design, whatever it is, it's print or websites or even video. I think in the beginning, your pride gets up front, like, oh, you designed something, you've spent all this energy, creating this whatever,
my vision.
You think that they're going to be in love with it, and and they're like, I don't really like that, and I don't like, and I'm like, you get so offended in the beginning. At least I did, and then it took time when I just thought, whatever, I mean, they're paying for it, and I'm basically a tool. I don't. That's a terrible word to use.
Facilitator.
I am just
facilitator.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Some people could probably consider me a tool, but I just do what they want.
Yes.
And what I've noticed many times is I wind up surprising myself. Like their critiquing winds up us creating something better. Not always.
Well, I would say there had to be a time where you put something out, and because of what they wanted, and you're like, I don't want my name on this.
I don't have that kind of pride, honestly. I mean, there is that at times, and I know other guys that do that too. Like they're so prideful of their work that I don't include my name. Okay, that's weird, but unless it's really, really terrible. But I really don't do anything really, really terrible. I haven't had. There has been some things that I haven't been totally proud of because of the client's input, but it hasn't been that much, and I'll let them know. I'm working with Jeff Stewart right now. I'm producing all his music videos.
He was just on the podcast a couple episodes ago.
Oh yeah. I did listen to that.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to get him to have a branding image, even though all his videos are different. I'm trying to keep them consistent by using the same font and the same introduction to all these videos. He's producing 4 different albums from 4 different studios right now, and when all the albums are done, we're going to rebrand them per each album.
Okay.
But right now they all come out with the same style look. And he was like, I think we should maybe change up. I said, no, not yet. Let's just wait. Let's just keep this image going, and people will be interested in what you're doing. If we start changing at this point, it may get a little sloppy. It may look like a patched quilt. We'll change. We can do all that later. So there was a point to that that I just lost.
Well, we were talking about like putting your name on things and being.
Yeah. So that's an example of where, and he trusts my judgment on that. So we're continuing with this. We just finished a video with Chloe from Chloe and the Steel Strings. It's a beautiful song. Cool idea for a video. It turned out really well. I literally just finished it this morning, and it's exciting. But that's one of those things. I think that they kind of trust a good client trusts the people that they work with, and that's a nice working relationship. I don't have to be the guy that it's my way or nothing.
It'd be tough.
But I've been doing it long enough, and it's what I kind of keep a pulse on. Is what goes on in other people's worlds, and let's do this for a while. Kind of. So
well, I think that's what I mean when people ask you to, hey, will you do this for me? I think I think people know what they're getting into. Like, this guy's been doing it for forever. Like, I trust this person. Otherwise, I don't think they'd come to you to begin with.
Yeah, but there are those people with they feel like, oh, we should. Why did you ask me to be involved? I mean, there are those few that will come to you and like completely change everything. Like, okay, whatever. As long as the check cashes, it whatever. I have plenty of stuff, in my archive that I can be proud of. Not necessarily that piece, but whatever. It is what it is.
Do you have a favorite project that you have worked on, or a couple projects that really stick out? Like, I'm either really proud of this, of the work we did, or it was just a cool experience.
What a great question for me to give you this great answer. Honestly, that Mommy Palooza TV, MPTV thing, to me goes down in my recent history of the greatest thing that I've ever pulled off. I mean, 4 hours of live content.
Yeah.
I've never done live streaming before. And we had 8 different musicians in 8 different locations. We had music videos that some artists turned in. We had live remotes in 4 different locations, and we had a live studio narrator, whatever, host. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
And we did it all in the style of MTV. I made all these logo identification things at the top and at the half hour. Just like MTV, all those little animations and silliness, and it was so much freaking fun, and we pulled it off flawlessly. I think we had about 300 people at some point watching, or we had, I think, total about 300 people. I don't know how long necessarily they watched. Some of them probably just tuned in, went ugh, and then went out. But I'm really, really proud of that. And so we're actually doing some streaming services for some of our clients.
Oh, nice.
Now, and it's because of, I can use that as like a a bragging tool, I guess, that we pulled this off. But 4 hours, I mean, that's
awesome.
It is, for never doing it before. And we had done a trial run. It was about a half hour, and we did like, okay, this is what a remote interview is going to look like, and this is what the studio is going to be like, and we learned a lot from that, and it was just fun. I don't know. I wish I could do more of that.
Yeah.
It was only because of COVID, that we did that, because I didn't want the Mommy Palooza stage to not exist for 1 year.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun. I'm really proud of that.
I know you had mentioned that there's 300 people that watch it or whatever, but I know for me, like I want downloads, and I want people to listen to these podcasts, and I think they're entertaining. I think people will really enjoy them. But I said it before, at the end of the day, I do it right now. I do it because it's fun for me. Like, I have fun doing it. I have fun editing. I'm learning more editing stuff, and that's fun. So eventually, that the other stuff will come. Eventually I've had a couple of local people I reached out to, like, hey, would you like an ad on the podcast? And some of them I exchanged services. Like the person who made my logo, I gave her an ad, and she made a logo. I partnered with Big Daddy Graphics in Perrysburg. I know them really well. They gave me some money to buy a field recorder, and I gave them an ad. So eventually someone will say, hey, I want to give you, here's this ad for this money, and I'll get there. But until then, just like that was it. It didn't take you any time to say, this is my favorite, this was so much fun, because that's ultimately what it was, right? Yes, it was hard work, but it was fun to do.
And I say that is because you use the word work versus like other passion projects. I mean, I can call that work because we actually got funding of some degree. We got donations. What's it called? Not donations, where you get like sponsors. We got sponsorship. Yeah. And so we had all local commercials in there. You had a commercial in there. And so that to me was kind of a job, but it was a fun thing. We also my son and I have done film projects. On the wall back here are some of the films that we've done. It's hard to see. we've entered local film festivals here in Maumee and Sylvania, and have won first place, and actually in a couple categories, first, second, or third, somewhere the top three. We've won, and that's just all passion stuff. It isn't like we're getting any money for that. And these film festival challenges, they're usually 48-hour challenges. In other words, and Jake is in one of them. Jake is in. What I thought. Jake and Amanda and myself and my wife and my son, we all got together, and actually my assistant Austin, we got together. You're given a topic. Okay. You're given a prop. You're given a location that you have to include, and you and like a line of dialogue that has to be included as part of the challenge. And also part of the proof that you didn't make it, like last year, this film. And you get all that Friday night, and you have to deliver the film by Sunday night, a finished film. The film is usually about anywhere between 5 to 8 minutes, but it's a rush, man. I mean, it's we typically will come up with a story, write the details. Friday night, we're getting it like at 6 o'clock, so it's not like we're getting it early in the morning. We get it like at 6 o'clock in the evening. We hurriedly write, hurriedly, can't talk. Write the story, and then bright and early Saturday morning start shooting. It's easily a 8 to 10 hour shoot, and then I have the duty to edit the entire production. My son usually handles the sound, gets the sound all clear, and the sound effects and music, and kind of delivers different audio pieces to me. And then I'll edit it all Sunday and deliver it Sunday night. And we've done that many times, and it's been a lot of fun. But again, my point is that you do, some of it is passion, and you're not getting paid for it, and so it's the same kind of work, I guess. Not getting paid.
And that's just the back end of video stuff when you're editing and adding the music and stuff. I do a podcast with I work for the Metro Parks, and I do a podcast there, and we do video. And I don't have the capability. Well, now I do, but I don't have the capability like the stuff that you have or that Jake has, where you can take audio from the computer and not the audio from the camcorders and mesh them together. And Jake tells me the process and talks to me about it, and it sounds, because I'll mess up. I'll record wrong, or I'll do something where people are talking too much, and he'll call me and he'll like, hey, next time you do this, do these things, because it makes my job easier. I say, hey man, whatever, and so I know there goes a lot into it, and because I'll just, for my editing, this one will be cool because I'll get to edit in those pictures and stuff that you'll send me, and it'll be a cool thing that a new thing that I have to do. And cool. Because normally I just put my Jake's ad up front, put music, and then put the music in the end.
I don't think I've seen the video before. I've only listened to your podcast.
Right. Not a lot of people see the video either. So it's on YouTube. It's the Nerdball Podcast YouTube page.
Okay, all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, so I've had fun since the new year doing video, because it adds more to it. But I know, like, it's a lot of work, and eventually I'll take that over from Jake too, because he started this podcast with me, and he produced it. And just like you said, like, I didn't know things existed where you can take the audio, run it through something to clean everything up. I'm like, oh, you can make audio sound even better with this thing. So there's all these things that I'm learning, and it's cool. And like you said, it's fun to do all these things, to learn new things.
What's fun is, like, this is the stuff. Technology has just made things more accessible, and where you would have had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go into a studio and do this kind of stuff. Not to put down studio. There are definite benefits to studio, and but you can kind of replicate a lot of that stuff just from your own bedroom, and that's fun. It's fun I'm still a kid. I'm still 10 years old. I mean, well, maybe I'm a little older than 10, but I just enjoy being able to do stuff that I couldn't as a kid.
Yeah.
And it still impresses me. I mean, it's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, before we go, where can people, I mean, you're involved in a bunch of stuff, so I don't know if there's one website for this or where websites or Spotify for music. Where can people go to find your things, or if they're interested in your services?
Yeah. Okay. My wife always rolls her eyes because I give the longest answers.
Well, don't worry. We'll shorten this.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll I'll make it easier for people because all the links will go in the show notes too.
Okay.
So they'll be able to click on
Todd Productions, toddprod.com is actually my company.
Okay.
They're on Facebook, though, if you're interested in any kind of the fun films that we've done. 3/4 Entertainment is the name of my fun film, personal films. That's out there. One film to look for is a film called The Glove Foretold.
Okay.
It's about a glove that comes to life and goes on a killing rampage.
Oh, okay.
I actually have the glove still. It's over there. When I was in high school, I took filmmaking class, and it was an English credit, which was awesome. I had been making films since I was 10, and now I'm in high school, and there's a English credit called filmmaking. Like, awesome. So I was like way ahead. I was doing stop motion animation, all that, and the kids were blown away. Like, how is he doing that? And the teacher was like, I wish you didn't do that. Now I have to explain how to do animation. For real, that was a real thing. He was almost mad at me. So we made this glove that came to life, and then for my high school, senior year, we made the glove. The Other Glove was the name of the film, so that was the sequel. And then about 10, 15 years later, friends of mine wanted to make a movie. They knew that I had done movies in the past, and I said, well, I always wanted to make this third glove film. So we made The Glove 3. Now, fast forward many, many years, my Jack, who's now 13, but he was, I think, 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. We made the fourth one, The Glove Forewarned. Did I say foretold? I think it should be 4. It's called The Glove Forewarned, and it stars him, and it's awesome. It's really good, and it won first place in the film festival. But so there's that. 3/4 Entertainment. You can find that on Facebook.
Okay.
As far as music, right now, any of my previous albums have never really been released in an online presence. I've never been like properly mastered and all that. So I kind of shy away from that a little bit. But IdenticalSons.com is the most recent musical projects that my son and my writing partner in California have done.
All right.
And I think I covered everything. Maybe 3D printing. I don't have a shop for that. But I am doing 3D printing as part of Todd Productions now. I do have a couple of jobs that I have clients that. So I've actually paid for the machines already. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, maybe I think it'd be cool to get my logo 3D printed. So maybe we can talk
absolutely.
about that. I think
that'd be fun.
I know. Well, I can turn it. Maybe we can turn it into little keychains. My kids love putting stuff all over their backpack, little keychains. So maybe they can
That's what that little one that I showed you.
Oh yeah,
For this Legendary Computers, the guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you mint?" So it turned out pretty good. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Todd. This was great. This. Like I said, I've known this is my the perfect podcast, because right now I have a thing where it's hard for me to reach out to strangers because I'm still, I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me to get no's from people. Like the people perfect for this podcast are ones I know you a very tiny bit, and then I can just learn all about you. And I think my audience will appreciate that and find you very interesting, because I did. It was a cool thing, and I look forward to talking to you more at some point in the future. When other things come out, or even getting pictures of that R2D2 when it's done. We can share those. So that sounds awesome.
I will. Yeah. If anyone that knows me knows I post all the time. So, but yeah, I will definitely get you progress pictures as they evolve, and I'll get you the pictures that we talked about here.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah. All right, Todd. Well, thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks everybody for checking out this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're hearing this, on any of the podcatchers. On YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. We're coming at you 2 times a week now, audio and video. Check us out on all the social medias. Just search the Nerdball Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're out there. Gmail is the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to shoot us an email, we'd be happy to get back to you. Thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab, and Big Daddy Graphics for helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Princess Pod with your host, Lillian. Lillian, welcome back to your podcast. It's been a while, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have been going on?
I had my little baby cousin over and we did an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
We celebrate Easter for my dad's side of the family on like the 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't celebrate it on actual Easter day.
No.
Because there's the same day when we celebrate is my grandpa's birthday, and I made him a zebra cake. If you don't know what a zebra cake is you put a bunch of like dyed batter on top of each other, and when you bake it, cut it open, and it looks super cool. But you always really have to make like 2 stacks for the filling on the inside.
For the filling on the inside?
Yeah, because you put frosting or whatever you want inside.
Yeah. Watch the table.
It was.
What else did we do this weekend? Just hang out with your little baby cousin, huh?
Yeah.
Was it fun?
He's so cute.
Yeah. Is it weird being on camera?
Kinda.
What did we start tomorrow? Do you remember?
Softball.
Are you excited for that?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most, you think?
I think mostly like pitching, but the most part I don't want to look forward to is the mask that we have to wear on our face.
Yeah. Well, that's just to help to save you.
Is it just like small?
I mean, it covers your face. Is your face large?
Do
you have a large face?
No.
Huh?
Why don't baseball you don't wear those?
Because they don't make you in baseball. I think it's because the field isn't as close and the ball's giant.
Yeah,
the ball's as big as your head.
No, it isn't.
No, it's
like as big as mine.
What?
Big as like a baseball's as big as the round thing on the headphone.
Yeah.
A softball is probably as big as like
a softball.
Yeah, as big as a softball.
All right. Well, anything else?
I'm mostly just playing with Nico.
Yeah.
Because he's just so cute, and I told him to come crawl on me, and he literally just like ran straight into me. He was like, ugh.
And then he like cuddled with you all night too.
Yeah, he was so cute. I was getting tired. I was getting really tired. I was getting really tired watching TV, and so we just turned the TV off, and I just read books to Nico.
Yeah. It was fun though. You liked it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should sign off.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said?
No.
I don't remember either.
Me either.
What was it? Like something about goodbye to all my princes and princesses or something? Wasn't it like that?
Goodbye to all my pretties.
Is that something like that?
Wait, yeah, pretties are prince. I don't know.
So what do you want to say then? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
All right. Well,
You could say something.
I guess just say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. In your dreams.
Okay.